Next is a project to help you use up some of your designer series paper that you're hoarding, because I am a hoarder too. We're all hoarders. We all have too much designer series paper. There's just too much. It just is what it is. We all can't use up all of our paper, but we can try. So I went ahead and pulled out this beautiful paper. It's called the Favored Flowers. You probably know that. It's a free celebration item. We're going to make kind of a fun card. We have some pieces here. So I have a quarter piece of cardstock. This is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I have a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of black. This is fresh freesia. I have a 3 3/4 inch by 5 layer of this pattern of the designer series paper. And then I have a little piece here. This is 2 3/4 by 8. I have 2 pieces of white. These are both 2 5/8 by 3 7/8. I got one for the outside, one for the inside. And then I have 2 pieces of designer series paper that both measure 3 by 3 3/4. And then I have a little tiny strip here that is a 3/4 by 2 3/4. So we are going to start with our pieces of designer series paper and a trimmer. So put your 2 pieces of designer series paper on the trimmer. Put the pattern that you want to show up. So I want this pattern to be showing on my card, so I have it face up. I have the short edge towards the top of my trimmer with both pieces. My first piece, I am going to kind of turn to the left so that these 2 points are straight up and down. My second piece, I'm going to turn to the right. Okay, so this one's turned to the left, this one's turned to the right. They were both like this. That goes to the left, that goes to the right. I'm going to slide this into my trimmer, putting the points in the track. So I'm just going to finagle my way around there. And then I'm going to cut that in half. So I now have to cut 2 pieces. Put those aside. This is my other one. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to slide it into my trimmer. I'm going to put the points in the track. I'm going to close the lid and cut. So I have 2 from this piece, 2 from this piece. We're going to swap. Okay, so now I can make 2 different cards using this same paper. And I guess if you want to use that side, you could. Okay, so here we go. We've got the 1 here, and I am going to start out by, what do I want to do? Well, I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to decorate these pieces before I go any further, because I need this whole little piece to be complete before I put everything together. This is a little stamp, actually it's a large stamp, out of something called Decorative Borders. A lot of fun borders if you're a demonstrator. This is a stamp set that we got for free at the onstage event that was held back in November. And I pulled it out today to stamp on this project. All right, so I am going to kind of stamp it about like so. There we go. Let that dry for just a second. Now on this piece, I am first of all going to add my little piece of designer series paper. So I'm going to put this little strip of designer series paper. This is actually going to be the top of the inside layer, and there's kind of a funny story about this. When I did the sample of the card earlier, I was going to stick it on the inside of the card, and I had it at the wrong end, so I had it at the top, and I was like, wow, that actually looks pretty good. So we're going to leave it. So I'm going to leave this on the silicone mat because I have glue on the back of it. There's another stamp in this set, this little diamond kind of border stamp, and we're going to use that. Almost lost my pad. So I'm going to tap this into my memento, and I'm going to stamp it right underneath my designer series paper. Now I may have to move it down a little bit so that I can see what I'm doing. I mean, I want you guys to be able to see, but since I'm the stamper, I need to really be able to see. Isn't that like kind of cool? Check that out. I thought it was kind of cool. Okay, so we're going to get this out of here. And then we can add another piece or another strip of adhesive. And then we can add this to this inside of this little flap thing. So this is going to be kind of our sentiment or our message piece. So this is something you would send to somebody that you don't have a whole lot to say, because it's a very small place to say something. Okay. On this one, we're going to do a tiny bit more stamping. We are going to grab a sentiment out of the Charming Sentiment set that says thank you. I don't know about you guys, but thank you cards are the card type that I use the most. And so that's why I typically do thank you cards. And I'm going to stamp this. This is from Charming Sentiments. I think I said that. I am inking it up in Blackberry Bliss. And there we go. Okay, I also have another little piece right here out of that same Decorative Borders stamp set. And we are going to be using the Mossy Meadow for this little one. And just going to kind of tap that into the Mossy Meadow. And I'm going to stamp it twice. One above my thank you. And then one below. I just thought this was kind of an interesting way to use this little stamp. How cute is that? Sometimes they give us these cute little images, but we don't really always know exactly what to do with them. This I need to color in with my blends. So I've got some Mossy Meadow and a Blackberry Bliss. I'm going to use the light of both of them to start out with. So I'm going to color this flower. Actually, I'm going to color all of the flowers. Okay, those might not be flowers. I don't know, but I felt like it needed to be colored Blackberry Bliss. And then we're going to do the light mossy on the leaves. Blends, and then we're going to bring in the darks of each color just for some quick highlights or low lights, I guess, because, and I'm just adding my dark onto the lines that were already created by the stamp. So I'm not doing anything exciting, but yet hopefully this will add just a tiny bit of interest, you know, to the flowers and the leaves here. And it looks really dark when you first do it, but then it kind of lightens up a lot. Okay, so that's done. So now we're going to add that to the front of our little piece here. And use some seal, and I'm actually going to add a little on each side here. And then we're going to get this. Okay. Thank you again, you guys that are answering questions for me. That's extremely helpful. Thank you. Okay. So I'm going to press that down. So this is our little inside hello, you know, you write your little message in there. That is just the coolest stamp. I really think that's cool. Okay, I digress. All right. So now we are going to add our pieces of the diagonal pieces that we cut. But I want this to be on the card. So because it's a fairly thick little piece, and I want to make sure that when I put my two pieces on here, that's taking up the space that it needs to, so that these will kind of like go over the top of them. I never explained that right. I've got to figure out a way to explain that. But because these are going over the top of that, if I put them on without this, it would make it extremely difficult to slide that in and out. So if I put them on with that already in place, then it's just going to make that easier. I hope that makes sense. All right, so I'm going to use liquid glue, and I'm going to put it on the straight edges. So not the diagonal, just on the straight edges. I'm trying not to put a ton of glue on there. But I did get a little more than I maybe would have liked. And again, you don't want to have it too far in, because you don't want it to hit your little sentiment piece here. Okay, so we're going to set that down. And then we're going to add this to the bottom and to the side. Okay, like this. And I guess we could just have, you could just do it like this. You wouldn't have to put the other one on there. Okay, and then we're going to add this one, doing the same thing, adding them to the straight sides. There we go. And again, there we go. Okay. And we'll put this one at the bottom and over to the edge again. So you can kind of see what I mean where I am putting this in and then putting these pieces on, because you want to make sure that you can get that out, in and out, you know, fairly easily. It's going to be a little bit tight just because it's so thick, but it should be good. Okay, so now we have that done. We can add it to this layer here. So I'm just going to add a little bit of liquid glue. And, oh, this might need to be adjusted as far as the cutting. So I'm going to stick this on at the top and the two sides, and then I'm going to adjust the bottom. Looks like I cut this piece just a tiny bit too long. So we'll bring a trimmer back in here and see if we can slice off that little edge. That looks better. Okay, and then our final card base piece here, we'll do the same thing. We'll add the glue. So we got rid of a pretty big chunk of designer series paper making this, and then we have those two pieces left over, so we can make another card, and I did. And I'll bring that out here in just a second after we totally finish this. So we have our little pocket, we have our fun little insert that and then we have our pocket has been created so that our card will slide in and out nicely. All right, now I do have some white ribbon, and I think I'm going to tie a little bow, and we're going to put it right down in the kind of like the V where the two papers come together. Okay. Make sure we get that. Snip off the ends here. Okay, bring in a glue dot, because glue dots are the best for ribbons. And all right, so we've got our little glue dot right down here where the two kind of pieces come together. There we go. I feel like this side is maybe a little long. Still a little long. Come on, you, get off there. There we go. Okay, and then I do have some gems, but I don't know where I would actually put them, because now that I'm looking at this and thinking about it, I don't want to put any gems around here because, you know, the in and out motion of the little piece could potentially knock the gems off. If I try to put gems maybe on these two little, they're going to not stay. So I think the bow is all I'm going to do. I don't need any extra. I don't need anything else. Okay, so here is another one, you guys. Look at that. Same paper. Ooh, some wink. Bonnie, you may have something there. Let me pull my wink out and see what I think. Sometimes when I wink it can make your flowers, you know, maybe we could put the wink on the designer series paper flowers. That might actually work, because then it won't make, this shouldn't bleed, I wouldn't think. So I'm just kind of smearing some wink here on all of these. I should have done it before I put my bow on. But I think that's okay. So we do have a little bit of shimmer now. Good idea, Bonnie. Just a little bit, and then it didn't bleed at all. So that's really nice. Perfect. Okay. And then I can do that on this other one too. But here's my second card. I used the same pieces, you know, because I said you could make another card. And then I just chose a different pattern of designer series paper out of the package. And I did the exact same thing. I just mounted it on Blackberry Bliss rather than Mossy Meadow for this in here. Same inside. My layers black, but Mossy Meadow. And yeah, so 2 cards, but they're the same, but they're just beautiful, you guys. And I really like how this stamp set, this decorative borders, kind of works really well with the flowers. I don't think it looks odd at all. I think it looks good.